Hello friends, welcome to Unique Identity. I think all you have seen my previous lecture for environmental engineering and fluid mechanics. Today I will discuss another chapter for water supply engineering in environmental engineering. Also, you have requested me for IS 456 GIST and transportation engineering and hydrology. I will give you all your demand parallelly with this environmental engineering. Okay. I think all you have subscribed my channel, and if you have still not subscribed my channel, so please subscribe and get all the notification for the upcoming videos. Okay. And I have made these notes from two books. One is Water Supply Engineering by S.K. Garg, Volume 1 Environmental Engineering, and another book is Environmental Engineering by P.V. and Rao. Okay. So, Environmental Engineering, and this is Water Supply Engineering, Chapter 7, Purification of Water Supplies. As this is a vast chapter, so this is part 1, and in the next video I will upload part 2. Okay. First is methods of purification of water. Okay. So you all know that there are different methods. I have just mentioned it here, and later I am discussing in detail. Screening, plain sedimentation, that means type 1 settling, sedimentation aided with coagulation, filtration, disinfection, aeration, softening. Okay. All these things are very much important in any examination. Every time question may be asked from each of the chapters. So kindly watch this video in full so that you will get a complete idea about this chapter. Okay. And in this part 1, I have marked it. I have discussed with filtration. In the next video, I will discuss the rest part. Okay. So, screening. What is screening? Screens are generally provided in front of the pumps or the intake works to exclude large size particles such as debris, animals, trees, bushes, etc. Okay. So, for the purification of water, the first step is screening. Whatever is the debris, whatever the animal and whatever the trees or bushes that are lying on water and that are flowing in water, that should be screened first. You all know. Also, coarse screens are sometimes placed in front of the fine screen, because you know, by coarse screen, first this large side of objects are being removed, then the water will pass through this fine screen so that the small size particle will be removed. Okay. Here I have given a one-liner that coarse screens are generally called as trash racks. Okay. You please note this line because it may be asked in examination. Okay. Next is plain sedimentation. That means type 1 settling. What is type 1, what is type 2 and what is type 3 settling, I will discuss later. Okay. In this video you will get the whole idea. What is plain sedimentation? First I am giving you the principle behind sedimentation. That will make all the things clear for you. Most of the suspended impurities have specific gravity greater than water. That means 1. Because you know the specific gravity is 1 of water at 4 degrees centigrade. So, they tend to settle down under gravity in still water. Okay. But in case of still water, they tend to settle. But whenever in normal raw supplies, it is generally turbulent water. You all know. So, in normal raw supplies, as soon as the turbulence is retarded by offering storage to the water, they tend to settle. That means, whenever that raw water, raw supply will be stored in some place, then the turbulence will be retarded, it will be then still, and whenever it will be still water, then it will I mean settle down, tend to settle. Okay, so that is the principle behind sedimentation. You got my point? Okay. Now listen, the basin in which the flow of the water is retarded is called the sedimentation tank or sedimentation basin or settling tank or clarifier. Okay. The theoretical average time for which the water is detained in the tank or the basin is called the detention period. Okay. I am giving you this definition because things will be more clear to you. Now, Stokes' law. I think you all know, but I am revising you. The settling velocity of a spherical particle is expressed by Stokes' law, which is expressed as Vs equals to g by 18 g minus 1 d square by mu for d less than 0.1 millimeter. Mind it that Stokes' law is valid for diameter less than 0.1 millimeter. Okay. Also, for this formula is valid for viscous flow and small size particle having Reynolds number 0.5 less than 0.5. Okay. And in this expression, Vs equal to velocity of settlement of particle in meter per second, d equals to diameter of particle in meter, capital G equals to specific gravity of the particle, that means density of solid by density of water, and nu equals to kinematic viscosity of water in meter square per second. Okay. So you please note down this. Question may be asked in any form that Vs varies as inversely varies as d square or varies as d square, d varies root over of Vs. So all the things will be clear if you note down it and if you remember it. Okay. Next, sedimentation tank. I am giving you some one-liner. You just remember it or you may note down it. Long, narrow rectangular tanks with horizontal flow are generally preferred to the circular tanks with horizontal, radial or spiral flow. You know that the sedimentation tank may be rectangle or may be circular. Okay. And rectangular tank also there may be horizontal flow or maybe some vertical flow will be there. I am coming to that chapter. So here what we are telling that long narrow rectangular tanks with horizontal flow are generally preferred to the circular tank with horizontal radial or spiral flow. Okay. Now second one liner is under normal condition a plain sedimentation tank may remove as much as 70% of the suspended impurities present in water. So in plain sedimentation tank 70% of the suspended impurities may be removed. Okay. Next, in a horizontal flowing rectangular tank, uniform velocity V equals to capital Q by BH, where Q is the discharge. Okay. And B equals to width of the tank and H is equal to depth of water in tank. Mind it that it is horizontal flowing rectangular tank. Okay. Next is if a discrete particle enters the tank at the top of the tank at full height h, then it will have a horizontal flow velocity v, that means this v, and a downward vertical flow velocity vs. Okay, that is I was telling previously that always it will not have a horizontal flow. It may be some vertical flow velocity will be there. And that vertical flow velocity will be Q by B into L, where BL equals to surface area of the tank. Okay, but here it was BH. So you remember that uniform flow velocity for horizontal flowing rectangular tank Q by BH and vertical flow velocity will be Q by BL. Okay, so please note down this. Next is detention time for a rectangular tank. Small t equals to volume of tank by rate of flow. What is volume of tank? That means BLH, width into length into height by Q. That will give the detention time for a rectangular tank. And detention time for a circular tank T equals to d square into 0.011 d plus 0.785 h by q. This is not much important, but for extra information I am giving you. Okay, sometimes it may be required. That is why I mentioned here. When h equals to vertical depth of water at wall or side, that means side water depth, and small d equals to diameter of the tank. Now, actual average time which a batch of water takes in passing through a settling tank is called flowing through period, which is always less than the detention period. You got this point? I am repeating it. Actual average time which a batch of water takes in passing through a settling tank. That means whenever in a tank some water is being stored, okay? So it will store there for some time. Theoretically the time is called detention time, and whenever it is actual average time, then it is called flow through period. That is the difference between detention period and flow through period. Okay. Flow through period is the actual average time and detention time is the theoretical time. Okay. Now displacement efficiency equals to flowing through period by detention period. Okay. So that is the displacement efficiency. That means average actual by theoretical. Always theoretical is greater. It generally varies from 0.25 to 0.5 in normal sedimentation tank. This is important. This is important. So please note down. Next is type. I told you firstly that later I will explain that what is type 1 settling, what is type 2 settling, and what is type 3 settling. See, type 1 settling is whenever the impurities dilutes in water, it is non-flocculent type and it is free settling. Okay, that means free fall will be there for the settling. Every particle settles independently. Okay, so there is no interdependency between the particle. That is type 1 settling. Whatever we have discussed in plain sedimentation tank, that is type 1 settling. And type 2 settling, that it also dilute, but it flocculent. Type 1 settling was non-flocculent. That means particle can flocculate as they settle, but it was independent. But in case of all the particle, that means there will be some cluster of particles that flocculates with each other. Okay, so that is type 2 settling. Later I will discuss sedimentation with added with coagulation, that will be type 2 settling. Okay, type 3 settling will be concentrated suspension, zone settling, hindered settling, that means the slice thickening. Very less type of topic will be covered. Maximum you will cover type 1 settling and type 2 settling. Okay. And as I told, the type 2 settling sedimentation added with coagulation, that will be type 2 settling. Okay. So next is sedimentation added with coagulation. So first is screening, second is plain sedimentation, that means type 1 settling, and third one is the sedimentation added with coagulation. What is the definition of coagulation? Coagulation is a chemical technique which is directed towards the destabilization of the charged colloidal particle. You know, in water, generally all the impurities are negatively charged. Okay, that is, here is the term is used, charged particle. And whenever, so they are negatively charged, so it will create a layer. It will create a layer, circle, that layers are called the Stern layer. And whenever some object is added to that, then its potential is reduced. That means it drops its potential. Okay, and then it will be Stern potential. I am not telling you in detail, but I am giving you the general idea behind the coagulation process. Okay, so it is nothing but the ion exchange, that means plus minus, and this is the charged particle destabilization, that is called the coagulation. And what is the flocculation? Flocculation is a slow mixing technique which promotes the agglomeration of the stabilized particle. Okay, so it is agglomeration of stabilization. This is the main term, agglomeration of stabilized particle, but it is a slow mixing technique. So you first differentiate between coagulation and flocculation. Okay, the coagulation before the sedimentation is almost universally adopted in all major water treatment plant. Okay, so you got that in major water treatment plant, first coagulation, then sedimentation. Okay, most of the colloidal particles in water or wastewater are negatively charged. As I previously told you that this negative particle create a Stern layer, circular Stern layer, and whenever some object is added with positive charge, then it will drop the potential and it will create a Stern potential. Okay, and this is the physics behind this coagulation process. Now we will discuss about the chemicals used for coagulation. Alum, that means aluminium sulfate with 18 H2O, that is alum. Al2SO4 whole 3, 18 H2O plus 3CaHCO3, that means calcium bicarbonate, reacts each other and the product is 3CaSO4, that means calcium sulfate, plus 2AlOH whole 3, aluminum hydroxide, that will be precipitated. So this impurities is being removed by precipitation, plus 6CO2, that will be gas, that's why it is upside. It is extensively used. Okay. The effective pH for its use is 6.5 to 8.5. This is the drawback for alum because its pH range is very less. Okay. Next is copperas. What is the formula? That is FeSO4, 7H2O. That means ferrous sulfate. FeSO4, 7H2O plus CaOH whole 2. It reacts with calcium hydroxide and the product is calcium sulfate, ferrous hydroxide, FeOH whole 2 plus 7H2O. And when this ferrous hydroxide react with oxygen along with water, it precipitates as ferric hydroxide. Okay, then it will be precipitated, so the impurities is being removed. It is extensively used for waters that are not colored. Mind it, if the raw water is colored, then it cannot be used. Okay, and its function effectively in the pH range of 8.5 and above. So its pH range is large comparative to alum, and also it is very cheap. It is cheaper comparative to alum. Okay, so this is the case of copperas. Next is chlorinated copperas. What is chlorinated copperas? That is the combination or a mixture of ferric sulfate and ferric chloride. How it is being produced? Whenever that copperas, that means ferrous sulfate, 7H2O, react with chlorine, that means 6 FeSO4, 7H2O plus 3Cl2, that give the production of chlorinated copperas plus 42H2O. And this chlorinated copperas act separately, that means react separately with calcium hydroxide and produced ferric hydroxide by reacting with ferric sulfate, and it produced ferric hydroxide with reacting of ferric chloride, and byproduct is CaCl2, that means calcium chloride and calcium sulfate. Okay, so it is a valuable coagulant for removing colors, especially where the raw water has a low pH value. So as we previously told that if the raw water is colored, we cannot use that copperas, we can use this chlorinated copperas for the colored raw water. Also for the low pH value, it is very much effective. Which pH value it act? ferric sulfate is quite effective in pH range of 4 to 7 and above 9. So this is the pH range of ferric sulfate, and for the ferric chloride, this pH range is 3.5 to 6.5 and above 8.5. Okay, so for low pH range it is very much effective, and this chlorinated copperas is nothing but the combination of ferric sulfate and ferric chloride. This ferric sulfate and ferric chloride separately react with calcium hydroxide and produce this ferric hydroxide precipitation. Okay. Next is filtration. So we discuss three processes for purification. First is screening, next is plain sedimentation or type 1 settling, and third is sedimentation aided with coagulation, that means type 2 settling. Fourth is filtration. Okay. Now what is filtration? To remove or to reduce the remaining impurities still further. Okay, that means from the previous three procedure, if there is something more, then to remove or to reduce the remaining impurities still further and to produce potable and palatable water, that means drinking water, the water is filtered through the beds of fine granular material. Got it? So the water is filtered through the bed of fine granular material to remove the further impurities, and this process is known as the filtration. So it is being filtered through the bed of fine circular material. Okay, so this is the definition of filtration. Now here I am just mentioning this process of filtration for this exam. No need to go through in detail. Okay, this may be asked in semester examination in your college, but it cannot be asked in a competitive exam in detail, but I am telling you just briefly. So there are four processes of filtration. Those are mechanical staining, flocculation and sedimentation, biological metabolism and electrolytic changes. You just remember these names, that will be sufficient for you. Now this is the very much important. The type of filter. Firstly, you can see that filters are of two types. One is gravity filter and another is pressure filter. That means this filter is governed by the gravity force and these filters are governed by the pressure force. Okay, and these gravity filters are of two types, slow sand filter and rapid sand filter. You know that in examination every time question may be asked from this slow sand filter or rapid sand filter. Now in a gist I have made it for you the main topic, rather main characteristic for slow sand filter and rapid sand filter. Okay, you just listen carefully and if you find it suitable then please take a note of it. Number 1, pre-treatment requirement. For slow sand filter, first I am telling you for rapid sand filter. For rapid sand filter, coagulation, flocculation and sedimentation is must. This is the pre-requirement, that is pre-treatment requirement. But for slow sand filter, coagulation is not required at all. First I am telling this. Next I am tell you that effluents either from plain sedimentation tank or raw water are generally fed into them. Okay. So sedimentation and flocculation may be required, but coagulation is not required at all for sand filter, slow sand filter. Okay, but rapid sand filter, coagulation, flocculation and sedimentation all are required. Next is base material. For slow sand filter, the gravel base support the sand varying 3 to 65 mm in size and 30 to 75 cm in depth. Okay, but for rapid sand filter, the gravel base support the sand varying 3 to 40 millimeter in size and 60 to 90 centimeter in depth. Okay. So this is the main difference regarding base material. In case of rapid sand filter, the depth is slightly more, that means 60 to 90 centimeter. Comparatively for slow sand filter, the depth is less, 30 to 75 centimeter, and this size is less for rapid sand filter, that is 3 to 40 millimeter, and size is greater for slow sand filter, 3 to 65 millimeter. Okay. Now size of each unit. In case of slow sand filter, it is large, that is 30 meter into 60 meter, and in case of rapid gravity filter, it is small, that means 5 meter into 8 meter. So you can easily understand that in case of rapid gravity filter, the size is small. Now rate of filtration. In case of slow sand filter, it is small, that is 100 to 200 liters per hour per square meter of filter area. But in case of rapid sand filter, it is large, that means 3000 to 6000 liters per hour per square meter of filter area. That means almost 30 times rate of filtration compared to slow sand filter. Okay. Efficiency. Very efficient in removing bacteria. Mind it, and very important that slow sand filter is very efficient in removing bacteria, 98% to 99%. Just note down it, please. And for rapid sand filter, it is less efficient in removing bacteria, that is 80% to 90%. Okay. So this is very important. And loss of head for slow sand filter, it is approx 10 centimeter is initial loss, and 0.8 meter to 1.2 meter is the final limit. And for rapid sand filter, it is 30 centimeter, that means 0.3 meter initial loss, and 2.5 meter to 3.5 meter is the final limit. So loss of head is greater in rapid sand filter comparative to small sand filter. Okay. Slow sand filter. Economy. For slow sand filter, this is high initial cost for land and for starting, and low cost operation and maintenance. Okay. But in case of rapid sand filter, low initial cost but high cost of operation and maintenance. Okay. I repeat that for slow sand filter, this is high initial cost but low cost of operation and maintenance. But for rapid gravity filter, it is low initial cost and high cost of operation and maintenance. Next is period of cleaning. This is also very much important. For slow sand filter, it is very much, that means 1 to 3 months interval, cleaning interval. Okay. But for rapid sand filter, it is only 1 to 3 days cleaning interval. So this is the gist for rapid sand filter and slow sand filter, the comparison. You just note down it. This will be very much important for the competitive exam. Okay. Next, I am giving you a one-liner that for pressure filter, this is not much important, but question may be asked little. That is why I am telling you, for pressure filter, rate of filtration is 2 to 5 times that of rapid gravity filter or rapid sand filter. Okay. So this is the first part for water purification. Next, it will be part 2 or the last part of the water purification. Okay. So friends, this is the environmental engineering and water supply engineering I am trying to finish. Also parallelly, I will create video for you as requested for the ISCO gist, hydrology and transportation. Okay. So please watch this video and take a note. If you don't have enough time for reading textbook, for you only I am preparing whole the things. Okay. So please subscribe my channel if you till not subscribe, and please share this video to your friends so that maximum people will be benefited. and my best wishes for you for the upcoming examination. Okay, and please share it. That will be very much effective and efficient. Okay, so that's all for today. We'll come with the next video. Okay, so thank you very much and all the best for your future endeavor.